Minasan, konnichiwa. My name is Matt Okahara, and today we're at Arato Castle, which is in Shinshu Province, which is now Nagano. So we're going to have a look around at this outpost fortress. This fortress is considerably smaller than some of the largest castles in Japan, such as Matsumoto Castle or Ueda Castle, which are also in Nagano. Arato-jo, or Arato Castle, is a reproduction of a mountain-top fortress from the Warring States period of the 16th century. It was actually reconstructed in 1995 using materials accurate to its original construction, so it was quite a good research project for historians. The defensive structures and the low-slung barracks and other parts of the castle are designed not to be visible from below and are faithful to the original design of the castle. In addition, the terrace-style enclosure of the castle was designed to minimise the efficiency of enemy attacks and was commonly used in that era for this kind of fortification. The fortress itself was built around 1524. The Yamada clan, who were retainers for the Murakami clan, were the original custodians of the castle. However, given the nature of the Sengoku Jidai, ownership of the castle changed several times. The castle's most famous contribution to the feudal era of Japan was as an outpost during the battles of Kawanakajima. And although the castle was quite small with a relatively small garrison, its strategic importance could not be overlooked. A provincial outpost like this might seem an easy target, but the position is highly defensible with guard towers and gates all over the place. First of all then, let's take a closer look at the main guard tower. The tower is in the northeast of the first terrace of the fortification, and it can observe the valley below as well as the entrance and approaches to the castle. During times of conflict, this tower would be constantly manned by several soldiers, and there would also be patrolling soldiers underneath, walking between the castle gates and the tower. And talking of gates, there are 3 substantial gates, and we'll have a closer look at those now. Along with being substantially constructed, these gates had a firing position above them as well, essentially turning them into turrets. The castle's got several of these alleyways which come just after the gates, so there's 3 in total. And you can see that although these walls aren't particularly high, about the height of me a little bit more, but they've got platforms on either side, which is going to be a great place for your troops to be positioned if someone does actually manage to breach the gate. This is a good example of the firing position above the gate. And remember, there are 3 of them in total, which is quite a lot for a small castle. And you can also see the platformed positions on the left and right of that alleyway. They are delineated by that fence work. And it occurs to me whilst exploring this fortification just how difficult it would be to attack in several senses, and let me explain what I mean. First of all of the soldiers that man this fortification were local. That meant they were familiar with the terrain, but more importantly, familiar with each other. Therefore, if anyone was trying to gather intelligence or information about the castle, or if any unfamiliar people were around, or if something didn't just feel quite right, they would be the first people to notice it. And as they kept their weapons to hand, as seen in this illustration, it was easy for them to gather the troops. The Ashigaru would quickly be able to pass the message to assemble at the castle. And as the castle was on their land, the land that they worked and the land that employed them, they were going to sell their lives very dearly and fight very hard to protect themselves and their families. Now, as you can see, this fortress isn't very well furnished with buildings. The fortress was built with conflict in mind and not comfort, so the few buildings that are here are very practical. Now, this is the largest building in the entire fortification, and it was the samurai's quarters. As you can see, the inside is very sparse. But it is the only building with a partition, which offers some privacy to the samurai that were occupying it. The smaller buildings, like this, were used to house the Ashigaru, the infantry, when they weren't on duty. This building is almost barn-like in its appearance and is found on the first tier. It is the main barracks for the Ashigaru, and it is from here that they will begin and end their duty for the day. Along with acting as accommodation, this building also acted as a kitchen and as an armoury. The 2nd and 3rd tiers of the castle also feature similar buildings. It was very interesting to visit a castle that was completely different to the castles that were found in the capitals of the feudal domain. Large and famous castles such as Matsumoto also acted as administration hubs, but this fortress was only built with the defence of the Chikuma Valley in mind. If anyone was to invade Shinshu Province in the feudal era, this is one of the valleys they would have to come through. I hope you enjoyed this short video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, so that you can find out more about the Matsumoto Castle Gun Corps and local history in Nagano.